Hello and welcome back to the finishing line and another episode of Talking Points where we will be going through some of the week's topics and main talking points. And how are we, gentlemen? How is Thomas just enjoying this all day out in the back?
Yeah, I've been. I cooked a roast dinner for Mother's Day for 8 people, and then sat out in the back, few bottles of bubbly, and had a nice afternoon. Yeah, it's good crack.
He's a bit chirpy now. So
You're supposed to be off the beer till Punchestown.
Oh yeah, forgot about that. Cheers, Dave.
Pocket. You could be down tomorrow. Who cares?
I'm in the gym tomorrow.
For fuck's sake.
You're back grafting tomorrow.
Yeah, I am back in the gym tomorrow. So we had 2 cases of COVID 1 week after the other in the house. And then last week I was sick as a dog, but no COVID. So finally, 3 weeks later, we're out of all that, and yeah, we should be A1.
Good. You're miserable today.
Dave is in dog's form.
Miserable today.
I'm tired.
Over. He's old. He's not able for it anymore.
I shouldn't be drinking for a start.
Yeah.
Take my tablets. But like, Cheltenham was obviously a couple of days drinking. And then I had a drinking session this weekend. And then, what's next week?
Scottish National.
No. Maybe next week I'm not drinking. But then the following weekend,
Come up to mine for a few. What's National?
I'll go up match up, but not drink. Then the following weekend, I'm in Newcastle at a wedding.
Oh, friends.
So, like, wedding does drink. Then the following weekend, Kubo is over. So, and the Irish National's on. So that's more drink. Then the following weekend is my mother's 60th party, which is more drink.
Happy birthday.
And the
Mary.
following week is then Punchestown, which is more drink. And I just don't want to do any of it.
Sorry, what?
It's grand when you're doing it.
Sorry,
it's the day
what?
after. The day after is just a
You
nightmare.
don't want to do any Punchestown.
I find it's the 4 days after these days. I find that hurts the most.
So not worth it. And I went out for food in Jeff's and 2 pints, and that was at 7 o'clock. Got home at 2 o'clock after 8 pints and 4 gins.
Oh, the fella about, I'd say a few days before, I know when to stop.
Yesterday, I just didn't care. Same as the Tuesday at Cheltenham. Didn't care then either. Just fucking going nuts. It's like I'm allowed out again now and COVID's gone, so it's just like, go crazy.
COVID gone. The Jansky says you had 2. You mean you had 2 cases of the flu? The ironic thing is the 2 people who had COVID were less sick than I was. So fucking it makes no sense anymore.
Anyway, we'll crack on with today's talking points. And we're not really talking about the fly. But you want to talk about what the hell was wrong with you?
I don't know. I just kind of like wouldn't have shivers.
Do you want to talk about the flat that happened on yesterday today?
No.
Not yet. Still jump season.
Is
my head is still
stupid.
jump season. 24 flat handicap, and there was no pace.
Look, if you're into flat racing, there's a couple of nice
pace.
horses today. But it won't be for the next few weeks before the good ones are coming out.
Becoming a good old flat trainer now.
Tipped that today. Lafayette.
Good horse.
I didn't see much racing at all, and I actually didn't even see this race, but I'm going to bring it up because it was a flat race, and maybe we should talk about it. Is the National Hunt Flat Race at Limerick today? Mercury turned over at odds of 1 to 1.
That. The thing that won actually bolted up.
Yeah.
I've seen the last few furlongs of it.
Your mate trained the thing that bolted up, and he got bought, and
Your chin is trembling.
I'm fucked. Honestly, too much fucking gin and Guinness. Gin and that's I said right.
Guinness.
Guinness. Richard John O'Brien used to train it, and the old Double Greens bought him and sent him to Willie Mullins.
Yeah, I remember seeing him. I remember seeing him win his bumper.
He bolted up
at Nice. Yeah, he was very good. It's a 4-year-old bumper, first 4-year-old bumper of the year. And yeah, won very well. But like Jesus Mercury, that was a shade disappointing. Now the second horse is very interesting. Harley Dunn, let's call a spade here. Harley Dunn trains this horse, owns it, and rides it. That finished second. I imagine that'll go to the sales now and make a right few quid after splitting those two. But geez, I think they'd have thought Mercury was a fair bit better than the rest of those, you know.
Where am I looking?
You're still on this.
Oh,
my
Mercury was third. I turned it off at the furlong pole and your man was bolting up. Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, that's why you watch to the end, Andrew. Anything can happen.
Yeah. The winner is impressive.
You don't get the luxury when you have kids hanging out of you.
I know.
Right. We will get on small few talk points today. It won't be too long. One that we'll start off is field size. Our field size problem. This is kind of in regards to the Cheltenham Festival jump to 5 days and what we've seen over the last Cheltenham Festival. A few smaller fields than ideal, and then in general, small fields all around the country, UK and Ireland, really. Is it becoming a problem, and is it the racing itself? Too much choice, too much racing, more or less, in the UK more?
Yeah, the UK in the middle of the week is terrible for it, but it's more, I suppose, in Cheltenham, because you want to see decent race at Cheltenham. Not that Bob and Gallopin wasn't a good race, but the 4 runners, like, it was only 2 runners really, because the other 2 were miles behind, but at least they ran.
Like as you said there, like, it turned out it's a grade 1 race at the Cheltenham Festival. The top novices of over 2 mile 4 and 4 turn up. Yeah,
it was poor. I wouldn't personally like to see the Cheltenham Festival go to 5 days, because I think it'll dilute it. Like Royal Ascot, they could easily make that into 3 days as well. Some of the races are terrible, and that's what the way Cheltenham will go. But if they are going to make money out of it, which I'm sure they think they know they can, they will do it either way. It don't really matter what we think.
Like even today, if you look at Ascot, there was 2 4-runner races.
That was just terrible.
5-runner race, like 6-runner race.
Yeah.
That's a decent car now with Tom at Ascot on a Sunday, and they're still not putting the numbers.
Yeah, this is very simple for me, to be honest. It's a case of there's too much racing in the UK, and then when you come to the big festivals, all of the well, not all of them, but you've got 2 Irish yards. I'll add in Henry as well, but numerically, Gordon and Willie are a good bit bigger than Henry. But let's say 3 Irish yards, with a number of fancied and good horses in them, outnumbers everybody else. It's just the way it is at the minute. We spoke about it before, but for me, that's the cause of it. If you had, if you had Stateman, for example, in a different stable, you'd probably have run him in the Supreme. I can't think of too many more examples now off the top of my head, but there's a lot of those horses that, or they've bypassed races and stuff because they're in the same stable. And they should have been running against other horses, but there's no answer to it. There's an answer to the UK thing, which is go back and completely tear up, as Kevin Blake says, tear up the program in the UK and rebuild it again. Completely tear it up and rebuild it again. With the horses in different yards, there's no answer to it. I mean, I remember growing up. I grew up in the 90s, and we used to go racing to my local courses would have been Worcester. Yes, I did, you 2 piss takers, before you even said it. Worcester, Stratford, Warwick, London. And you'd literally go there, and Martin Pipe could have 4 odds-on shots on the same card, ridden by Tony McCoy, and 3 of the 4 would be owned by David Johnson. And that was just the way it was. And then swings and roundabouts happen. Martin Pipe retires, David Johnson, obviously passed away, but he got out of the game a good bit before he passed away to a large extent. These things come in swings and roundabouts. And as I said before, you can't blame the owners for wanting horses with Willie and Gordon and Henry. Like, you just can't. There's no easy answer to that. I think it's swings and roundabouts, and I think it'll change again. It's not too long ago that Nichols had a 1-2-3 in the Gold Cup, and you were talking about complete and utter dominance there. and now he's got 10 runners, is it, or 9 runners at the Cheltenham Festival in total. So it swings and roundabouts. It will fall in somebody else's favour in the next 10 years.
Is their whole model gone beyond recall now? Are they too stubborn to change it at this stage?
Well, there's definitely, Tom said it, there's definitely too much racing in England. That's for a start. There could be 3 meetings every day in England. It's too much.
Yeah. There's probably because there's a shitload of horses in, obviously. But you have the north as well. They pull nearly as much as the whole of England combined. Like up north with your Carlisles and Kelsos or whatever. But it's just a lack of quality they have as well when we're talking about the festival. Then with that, they've a lot to do. They do need to rip up the book and start again. But yeah, look, that's a matter for the UK, BHA, and all the rest of them to do.
Someone said,
go on, Dave.
Someone said he can't watch live in the comments because he needs Scotty Scheffler for 10k. So best of luck to that.
Oh,
good. Don't mind us.
Best of luck. The other thing is, if you wanted to put a positive spin on it, there are so many things you could do with that UK racing book, and you could give jockeys in Ireland. Jockeys get at least 2 days a week off because there's no racing here. You could be giving jockeys days off, or you could be limiting them to the amount of meetings they can. They're already limited to 1 a day. That came in and it was like life changing. Why not limit jockeys to being able to ride at 5 meetings a week? You're how many sportsmen go out and perform to their highest ability 7 days a week? I can't think of another sport that happens. So, there's so many positive spins you could put on it and prepare us for the future, because we'll bring it up maybe later, Andrew, about my tweet, but future planning is where we need to be thinking in racing. We're too concerned with the day-to-day, and we're like, from a UK point of view, we're getting beaten in Cheltenham now. How do I fix this next year? It's things don't happen that quickly. Put your sport there for the next 20, 30, 40 years. That's where they need to be thinking.
Yeah, I think it's the matter of the people that are in charge. They have to look at a younger generation now coming through to do that, because the older generation, they're set in their ways. They're stubborn as fuck. They're not going to change their mind. They're used to it all now at this stage. So I think a whole overhaul, age-wise, at the top level needs to be looked at as well.
I was looking at it with the I've been watching a good bit of F1 recently, and I was reading some of the things behind, like Drive to Survive and stuff, and a lot of it is going meow, meow. A lot of it is going after the American market for them, and their answer was, well, I want to go after the 67-year-old who's, well, not 70, sorry, 56-year-old who's got the disposable income and that cash, who can spend 400 quid on a ticket. And that's all I want. Screw the younger guys. They haven't got the money or whatever. And that's totally flipped on its head now. And it's propelled F1 into the limelight again, into mainstream. Because, again, F1 in the 90s was big. Schumacher, I used to watch him. God, it died to death. I wouldn't watch F1 if you paid me for a many number of years. And it's only the last 3-4 years, maybe 3 years, I imagine, that it's really come back around again. We need to be looking at racing like that. Future-proofing it, because you can't just keep doing what you're doing and expecting it to last for the next 20, 30 years. No business does that. It doesn't work. So.
Yeah, a whole upheaval of it all needs to happen. Right. Speaking of UK and Paul Nicholls, he could have Willie Mullins coming to ruin the party just when he thought, Dave, it was safe to come out and play. Willie Mullins put out a statement saying that he's highly considering going for the UK Championship.
I hope he does anyway. Sorry, Paul Nicholls right. He's a bottle job.
Don't be ruining the next one.
Well, I'll say it again then anyway.
Say it again in a minute.
He's a bottle job.
But yeah, look,
what he did at Cheltenham was a disgrace.
He's just over 500,000 behind him, Tom, in the Trainers' Championship. That's
a couple of grade ones.
A couple of 2 or 3 grade ones, maybe a Grand National alone
does
it.
Yeah.
If either of them win the Grand National, they win basically. I think.
If you got a couple of them grade ones in Aintree.
Yeah, like he has the entry. He has Sandown. I looked at the entries today for what was there for air. He has nothing at air yet. Some of the grade twos and the chases.
Nichols will try and win some of them now.
Yeah, entries aren't out yet. But if he aims one or two of his, not mid pack, but lesser horses. But then again, he has Fairy House coming up as well. Yeah. But yeah, look, it's Tom. In regards to it, it's not beyond the realms of impossibility at all.
No, I'm just checking what the odds are. Yeah, and yeah, look, as expected, it's very much in Willie's favour at the minute. He's 579 grand behind Paul Nicholls, and you would imagine that Paul did skip Cheltenham with a good few. So if he wanted to really put the foot down, I expect that he could.
But can he though? That's the thing. He might have the quantity, but he might have the quality to win these races.
Yeah, it would depend. I know Willie did it a few years ago. I think I read recently, it's a lot longer ago than you think it was, that he had that competition with Nicholls that went down to the final day at Sandown. But I don't know. It would take a lot. It's not ideally what you want to do. And don't take this the wrong way, any UK listeners, but does Willie care that much? Yeah, look, it'd be fantastic. It'd be the first trainer since Vincent O'Brien to win the UK and the Irish Jumpers Championship in the same year. But at the same time, you look at the horses Willie has got. A lot of them are younger horses as well. Does he want to risk messing their careers up to win a title when he goes to Cheltenham every year and mops up? Like, to me, if it was me, I wouldn't really give a shit, which is a bad attitude, I imagine. But I'd rather put my horse's career first and think about Cheltenham next year and go to Fairy House and he'll have some runners at Aintree, no doubt, like always, but go to Fairy House and then go to Punchestown, which traditionally absolutely cleans up. So yeah, I'd stick to waiting.
Back Willie's in the bumper.
Willie's in the last. But if he's there coming with a chance at Aintree, I can definitely see him entering a few more than he usually does.
Some of his second string graded horses will win some of the rest.
I'd say he'd sacrifice one or two of his Fairy House horses.
I think he might say Alahoda.
Quite possibly. And
look, the Melon Chase.
Yep.
Yeah.
Rattling off the ground, you'll be.
Oh yeah, that threw him down to the ground.
Killing horses again, like he did 2 weeks ago.
Legend. But the thing is, if he does end up doing it, I think that puts a whole, oh, holy Christ, what are we going to do now? To the trainers in the UK. Like, we were speaking of schedules that had to be ripped up in the UK and the race schedules being thrown around and fixed and all that. Some of the UK trainers have to do it as well. Like Paul Nicholls, he's so set in his ways now, he won't change at all. Like his whole mentality is drill the horses into the ground, get them fit and get races. Dan Skelton is a carbon copy of him. He's Paul Nicholls 2.0. I think he just had freaks of horses that me, you, and Tom could train back in the day. And then he has these below. To be
fair, Tom now thinks Denman was a 3 mile plotter. So.
That's true. But if you take Nicholls though,
he would have taken a bit of training.
His horses. What?
He would have taken a bit of training, a bit of stoking.
Oh, Demon. Oh, you would have gotten him
slow
10 times a day.
Plotter. Very
fast.
But
if you take it at the kind of just below grade 1 horses that Paul Nicholls got his hands on, that left Willie Mullins, could do nothing with him. And when Willie Mullins got a few back, what was Willie Mullins doing? Winning with him. He turned Stormy Ireland back into a grade 1 horse again. And he couldn't win a race with it in England. And there's few... to me personally, I think he needs to change what the hell he's doing. Because he's one way system of doing it the whole time. Yes, it's worked for a few years.
It's like this. Nicholls has had loads of assistant trainers leave and become good trainers on their own right. They're not helping him anymore. Like they were all there in the golden era when he had all them horses. So
I don't know. I've heard it for a long time. I even heard it when I used to work in the UK. You'd meet people from different yards and different people in racing, and you'd hear, "Oh, Nichols isn't actually that good of a trainer," but I don't know, lads. It's one of those. It's always where you hear people who say, "Oh, so and so holds the license," but they don't actually train the horses, and then that person leaves to go out on their own. They do shit, and the person who had the license keeps training the horses to do well. So I don't know. I would say Nicholas is a very good trainer. It's another one is getting your hands on stock. I've been crazy busy, but maybe sometime in a lull in the flat season, I want to go through, definitely all the Cheltenham horses, and I want to see where they came from. I want to see how much they cost. Were they available at public auction? Were they bought privately? Who purchased them? I want to go through and analyze all of that because I think that's interesting. A lot of it is the raw materials. If you don't have the raw material, you can be the best trainer in the world. But if your horse is an 80 rated handicap hurdler, it might run to 90. It might even run to 100, but it's an 80 rated handicap hurdler at the same time. So, yeah. Interesting stuff, though.
If you look through some of Paul Nicholls' horses, I guarantee you could find at least 5-6 that if you stick over here to Willie or Gordo, they'll turn them inside out.
You'll find some bad ones too, though.
But yeah, right, moving on. We move on now anyway. To what you were talking about. Have UK trainers lost their bot?
Well, he has anyway. Nichols has.
In regards to
you can't even say he hasn't after all he did at Cheltenham. It's just
Brave Man's Game and won on the ground before. St. Cavalos, as you said, his best farmers on the ground.
Pity Gordo didn't do that with Delta Work. Take him out of the race and leave Tiger win, wouldn't it?
Yeah, Mick O'Leary's a prick.
Why didn't you do with Paul Nicholls? Big G.
Yeah, with Big G now.
I'm still fucking fuming over that. And did you see this
is worse than Fernie Hollow.
Did you see during the week they're up measuring up Tiger for the fucking statue? What good is the statue going to do? Like, you wouldn't leave the horse win the last race of his career, and they measure him up for a statue.
Should be winning what run in the Grand National.
Lads, I've gone through it again. Delta Work is a certainty for the National. He's an absolute good fish.
Yeah, he probably is. Tom, we were saying like they tend to have a good record in it, so yeah, he probably is.
I think he'll be smashed up. I think he'll go up in 4-1. He'll be smashed up. But in regards to it,
Nichols he sulked. That was the end of it.
He threw his ties out of the pram, Tom. Look, he come out and said himself, Cheltenham's not the be all and end all. Which is the biggest load of bullshit I've ever heard in my life.
I know people had issues with the ground and the water and stuff like that, right? But it was the same for every trainer, right? And he watered the ground.
Well, before you get past that point, he watered the ground, yes. But with the amount of rain that fell, whether he watered that or not, if he didn't water that, I think we still would have had the same ground.
I was going to be soft, heavy ground. But
you're right.
They came in after, like, there's track records broken on the Tuesday. The jockeys came in, and he was told there's ground at the top of the hill that is turning firm. So it's way too fast for jumps horses. So he had to water it, and they were only supposed to get 8 millimeters or whatever. They ended up getting fucking 25 or whatever. Like,
you can't. There's nothing you could do.
It was nobody expected the rain that came to come. Like, so, Nicky Henderson gave the interview with Shishkin, and he wasn't blaming him, but the other fella's giving out because, like, he didn't want to run the horse anyway. He said all year he didn't want to run the horse. The owners wanted to run him. So as soon as he got a chance to take the horse out, he's like, "Get the fuck out! Good luck."
Do you know why? Because he knew he wouldn't get up the hill. That's exactly why.
That you're right there, Dave. That he came out and said, it's not the be all and end all, but the owners are like, no, we definitely think Cheltenham is the be all and end all. But look, you're going to come up with top sportsmen. They come up with excuses the whole time. Like, it's rare that a football manager will come out in an interview after a game and say, well, the reason we lost 1-0 today was we were shit. My right back was terrible. Their winger got past him the whole time. My defender called Harry Maguire is an absolute useless piece of shit. We paid 80 million quid for him. I don't know how. My goalkeeper couldn't kick the ball with his left foot and gave it away to someone. That doesn't happen. They make excuses excuses for everything, right? And trainers are the same. I can see why they do. If you were a trainer, be it a UK trainer, an Irish trainer, would you fancy, if you had a smaller string of horses than, the bigger yards, I would not fancy taking on Gordon, Henry, and Willie at Cheltenham. And if I thought I could go somewhere else and have my day in the sun and win a grade 1 or grade 2, I know Cheltenham's the be all and end all, but bloody hell, you're looking at them. They're so hard to take on, lads.
I'd still take him on.
It's an ego thing for Nichols, though. It's literally his ego just wants to win.
And the thing is,
he wants to win champion trainer. He don't want to run the horses in case he don't win champion trainer, and he has to pick the right races and make sure that he's nailed on to nearly win the race. It's an ego thing.
And the thing that annoyed me as well, and Jane Mangan actually alluded to it when she was on racing TV, they're national hunt horses. They're not flat horses. They can run on that ground. They're bred to run on ground like that.
Yeah.
What's the problem? It was the second. Yeah, but look, it was the second race of the day.
Yeah, for different reasons though. There are we've horses we've 7 now with Henry for Pimlico, and there are some horses there who, if it ever turned really soft and heavy like that, I definitely there's one there in particular would never run him on that.
Yeah, but
if it turned really quick, I would never run him on quick ground.
You're after turning up to the Cheltenham Festival. Your horse is there. You take the chance. You take the chance that he gets away with it.
If you know they're not going to perform, which there are some horses, because again, we have some horses on different variants of ground, wouldn't perform, put them away, wait for entry. It does make sense. I can see how it makes sense.
You make a good point there, but what he done did not make sense. St. Cavalos's best form is on soft ground. Why are you laughing at?
I think the St. Cavalos's
on Odd Check a podcast blame the rain on Tuesday night on climate change.
Probably has a point. I was sat out sunbathing the last 3 days and it's March, so there's something not right there, lads. The St. Calvados thing, I think, is because he bleeds, and he's bled, and you don't want to run a horse like that on soft ground. So,
he loves soft ground. All his form is on soft ground.
When he came over here, he was absolutely bolting up.
He's a French.
On soft ground.
He's one of your French yaks in the mould at Prongard. And that love that heavy ground. Himself and Easy's land are cousins.
He hated life at Cheltenham.
Yeah.
Yeah, but look,
he really got backwards that Easy's land, didn't he?
That's because he's not on drugs anymore.
Wow. God, Dave.
Explain it to me then.
How long have we been on the show, Dave? This was fun while it lasted.
To be fair,
Rougier got raided for drugs.
He got raided for drugs the other day.
Rougier got raided for drugs.
He did. Yeah.
Rougier got raided for drugs.
To be fair, now I told you about that a long time ago as well. So,
there's the grass. You just hung yourself.
I had nothing to do with any of this. Just so everybody knows.
Yeah, no, that's a massive story in French racing because a lot of people got arrested that morning. And yeah, let's see what happens at the end of it. But Jesus, that's not good at all for French racing. Not too surprising, but not good at all for French racing. At all.
And I also just state that Brave Man's game won by 7.5 lengths on soft ground, and he won by 10 lengths on soft ground.
It's a good example. Michael Meehan put in. Time White, he pulled him out of the Grand Annual because he said he wouldn't like the ground. Ran him on quicker ground today at a race around Ascot.
Go on, Gary Moore and Jamie Moore.
Thought he'd win. He got beat. That horse has form on soft and heavy ground as well. He should have ran that day too.
Lads, I just need to confirm if this is true. If this is true, this is a massive day for Irish racing. Massive, massive day. I might be able to do it by looking at this.
Where's he going with this?
I have no idea where he's going with this.
No, hang on. Huge day for Irish racing if this is true.
Jesus Christ, come on.
Wait for it.
We are waiting. Make Good is back.
Nina Carberry has just won Dancing with the Stars in Ireland.
Nina.
Go on, Nina.
Go on, Nina.
Gavin Lynch will be delighted.
Oh yeah, Gavin Lynch is
class.
absolutely buzzing, hopping around the room. Gavin Lynch is now.
That's very good. Well done, Nina Carberry. That's huge. Yeah.
Go on,
Fair
Nina.
play.
Right, last one we're going to touch on. We are going to go for horses to take out the Cheltenham Festival that didn't win. Dave, go with your first. We're going to give 3 each.
Tell me something, girl.
Tell me something.
She was tanking at the top of the hill, second last, when she got brought down. I think. Oh, I don't know whether she'd beaten Marie's Rock, and I don't know, but she looked like she was traveling the best in that particular race.
Fairyhouse?
Probably. I'm going to give Dino Blue another shot as well. She got an absolute Horlicks of a ride from Mark Walsh, so we'll give her another go. Can't win that Mayor's novice hurdle from the front because they go too fast, and then something from the back ends up winning.
That's true. Tom, your first one?
My first one, and you're going to take the piss out of me for less, lads, and don't now because I just don't. I'm not in the mood for a Barney over it. But my first one that didn't win to take out of it is definitely Gaelic Warrior. I thought he travelled like an absolute dream. He then goes and jumps right like a lunatic, and he's only been beaten a short head. Look, it was his first run for 283 days, his first run in the UK or Ireland. And as I said, I think you can see now why Willie puts this type of horse away and brings him back out next year. But I think he's still got big things to come. Definitely.
Come to lads.
Take a roll. Who's your first one?
My first one is Zanny here. Third in champion hurdle. I think this fella has stairs hurdle road all over him. He's currently 20-1 for the stairs hurdle next year. I think step him up. I think he's running in the Aintree hurdle, or the Liverpool hurdle, whatever you want to call it. At Aintree, that's 2.5 miles. I think he will go very close in that, and I think a step up 3 miles will see him down to the ground. Bit of class about him. Step up and trip. I think he will. Yeah, I think he'll go well when he steps up and trips. So Zanny here for me. It's the first one.
Vincent, the site for the Punchdown tickets is Pigsback. Pigsback.com or .ie or something. My second one is, I kind of gave 2, but there were two mares. Second one is Mr. Coffee. Kim Muir. They finally stepped him up and trip, and he's a bit of an idiot horse, but he needs one of them Paul Carberry rides. He needs a Archibald. He's stepped up and trip. He needs to come through horses and be kidded around. He's going to win a big long distance race, 3 mile handicap chase. Definitely.
Tom, second one?
My second one, oh look, this is the horse I banged on about the last day as well, is Free Stripe Life. I can't not include him in this list. I think he is going to be a far better chaser than he is hurdler. And he's the only horse that can get anywhere near Sir Gerhard. So for me, he should already have a grade 1 in the bag of hurdles. And then he's run 2 very, very creditable races, and he'll be a better chaser, I imagine. So Free Stripe Life, really keen on him for next year.
Jinsky and Steakhead are having a Barney there. My second one is Galloping the Champs. Step up and trip, back to 3 miles, Gold Cup horse. Next Denman, next 3 mile Gold Cup winning plotter. Look, I love this horse. Everything about him is just class. I just think he's going to be one of these horses that just goes that gallop for a long, long, long time. To me, he was only getting going at the end of the race before he fell. He learned from that fall. I just think he's something very, very special. He goes on any ground. He jumps well. He just has a relentless gallop. I think we could be looking at something special here. Galloping Champ, step up, trip. My idea of the Gold Cup winner next year.
My last one is Manelic Cooner. I think he's still going to be underrated even after Cheltenham. Did a lot wrong, pulled too hard in the Albert Park. Still was second. I think drop back and trip, or the kind of intermediate trip, like he won a 2 mile 6 grade 1 at the Dublin Racing Festival. So I could see him going back there next year over fences to that 2 mile 5.
Doing Galcom.
Yes, I can see him doing that. Goes from the front. I just think he's for whatever reason he's going to be overlooked. He's not of the sexy horse mold, is he really?
Yeah, I think it's the hood that does it.
He's the hood, and he was overlooked in Dublin Racing Festival. Paul didn't pick him, so I think people are like, he's the second string. He's not much good. He won that race on merit, I think. The form of that race, Hollow Games and Freedom to Dream were in that race. They were second, third, and fourth in the Martin Pipe.
He was back though.
Manila Crooner was in that race as well. I know Tom likes Manila Crooner. Is probably going to be a decent 3 mile chaser, so I think Kakuna is going to be a good horse over fences.
Yeah. Tom, last one?
My last one is Colonel Mustard. Third in the county hurdle behind the very good State Man. This lad is still well handicapped. Hoping he goes for a handicap at the Punchestown Festival, because I think he'll just win. It's as simple as that. Was second in the Champion Novice last year, the grade 1 at Punchestown behind Echoes and Rain, and I think this lad going there, would have an absolute great chance. So hopefully he goes to Punchestown for a handicap, and I'll be backing him there.
My final one is the same as Tom's second one. 3 Stripe Life, big chasing type. Really liked him in his bumper. Liked him again this season. I think the making of him is going to be over fences. He's going to be a stare. I think he'd love to step up and trip. Only horse to get close to. Sugar Hard Over Hurls. 2.5 to 3 miles. We could be seeing a decent chaser in the making. He has all the right attributes: size, scope, time on his side. So 3 Stripe Life next season going forward is one that I will be keeping a close eye on.
I just wanted to bring up my tweet, Andrew, before we left. I didn't want to bring it up on the Cheltenham Review show because I didn't want to overshadow that. But this seems like the perfect podcast to bring up this tweet. And to be fair, what's that?
Is there any other podcast you're on?
No, I just feel like this is a good week to fill a bit of space. No, just that I've never had a tweet go viral before, and my viral tweet was about responsible gambling, which is kind of ironic considering I work in the iGaming industry and I'm a punter. But I got 14,431 likes, which, to be honest, I thought I would get my usual 10 likes, of which I could definitely have named 6 of the people. But anyway, it took off, and I heard it discussed on another podcast earlier this week, and it seems like it hit a chord with a few people. The whole point of it was that ITV had a guy on, and apparently he was one of the part owners of Flooring Porter, but it was completely set up, TV segment. And Brian Gleeson said to him, he introduced him and he said, I'm having £640 on Flooring Porter. And he said, why 640? And he said, because that's all I've got left. And off they went. They literally dragged him up to the booking and said, come here now, off you go. And they got his last £640 on. I was just watching it going, this isn't good. Like this, it's just not good. As much as it's a bit of crack, and contrary to the people on my tweet, I am good fun at parties, but it was very good. My stepkids got mileage out of some of those comments, lads. Mileage.
We can confirm he does get big giddy with a few bottles of wine, and he gets rose-tinted Lydia Hislop goggles on him.
But in all seriousness, it didn't sit right with me that you're bringing up a guy that as I said to somebody on the comments, like, look, I know it's not his last 640. You know, most people do, but there'll be people out there who think, Jesus, he's having his last bet on this horse. I'm going to clean my account now and have my last bet on this horse. We're in an era where responsible gambling is really under the spotlight. There's a gambling review going on in the UK. All it takes is for one MP to sit down and watch that and say, that is the end of this shit. The same thing happened with the two Johnnies on the podcast. A TD saw a clip of a bloody podcast and took it completely out of context. And they were off the show. They were off air for 2 weeks. Like,
two idiot TDs. I keep telling you this.
What's that?
But it's true.
They got taken off air for that. It's fucking stupid.
They got reinstated. But all it takes is somebody to see that the day before or one of the days before, they had a 10 or 11 or 12-year-old kid saying, I got my mum to put on a bet for me and I won thousands there.
And Tubbs
McNally.
Like, you can't put this on mainstream. You can't put it on any TV. You can't put it on mainstream TV, lads. It just, I think our attitude to it needs to change slightly. I'm not saying don't bet. I'm not saying don't have fun at parties. I'm just saying our attitude needs to change towards gambling. And some of the comments were, sure, it won. Isn't that all that matters? It's like, no, it's completely missing the point.
Well, value Tom and all that, you know.
He got in value. He got 5
He actually got a boost. He got a boost off the bookmaker as well to top it all off.
But I mean, we discussed it, lads, and I think we're in agreement. Like, you know,
Tubbs does what the fuck he wants.
We do need to be a little bit more responsible in how we portray gambling in that kind of way and stuff. I feel anyway.
It wouldn't have been too bad if he didn't. It wouldn't be bad at all if he didn't say this is my last 600 and whatever euro.
I just worry
I don't have 600 euro on this. Fair play to you. If you have it, you have it.
I just worry for like what you said, Tom, because obviously it was a bit of crack and all that, and responsible gambling is important, but we're living in cancel culture world where people just jump on anything to cause controversy. And absolutely, an MP over there could just say, yeah, cancel that shit now, because that's what they're trying to get people to do that are watching ITV race. And I just don't like it.
Don't like it. Nah.
I do think, it's true. We live in cancel culture, and as we say, we were talking earlier about, you know, with how we need to, you know, maybe look at the UK program book at stuff for jump racing. We need to look at how we do this. We can't sit in the culture of, sure, that's just crack, or sure, this is what we've always done. We've got to.
We're living in a world where the owner, trainer, and one of the best jockeys in Ireland got Tiger Roll beaten. So anything can fucking happen.
And somebody is just.
No, I getting away from that. I watched that back, and Jack coming in giving it socks. Oh my good God! I swear to.
Yeah.
Would you have given socks?
I would have thrown a scarf on. That's what I would have done.
If you were riding Delta work and you won a Cheltenham Festival,
I wouldn't have been riding more. I said, Gordon, what are you doing? He's not running. The Tiger is going to win.
You'd be standing down in the social the next morning.
So in the balance of fairness, somebody just wrote in and said, talking shite, Tom, we know anyone who's half decent gets restricted, yet you never discuss it. And don't worry, my accounts are bloody restricted as well. I got a few new ones there over Cheltenham, and I'm enjoying them. God, lads, if you have those fresh accounts, happy days. You should be cleaning up. But the bookies are a disgrace as well. That's a complete flip side of it. Then, like, you know, I do feel there should be some minimum liability in there, because you try and have a bet. They want everything their own way, I think, is a problem. Somebody sent me a thing. They backed a 200 to 1 shot special, and they got a message back from their bookmaker about 3 or 4 days later. And it said, sorry, we got the price wrong. It's now 80 to 1. We've given you a €5 free bet for the inconvenience. Can you imagine going to your bookmaker and saying, oh, I had €20 on that horse. 4 days later, oh, I actually only meant to have €5 because I thought about this now. Can I have my €15 back, please? No chance. So I think there's more regulation that could come in there, definitely. So
Yeah.
There you go.
And it's something I didn't think I felt as strongly about responsible gambling before that tweet, because some of the replies shocked me. So some of the replies are crazy stuff. So
welcome to the Twitter world.
It's mental. I didn't like it one bit. I did not like it at all. I'm very happy to stay out of any Twitter limelight, to be quite honest with you.
Cat, now you're famous now.
Famous
you're viral.
No, there's no blue tick yet, lads.
Viral sensation.
Yeah.
Like Dino.
Yep.
Like Dino Dave.
Dino Dave, boy.
Dino Dave went viral in Cheltenham.
It's often his holidays.
Need to get a Dino Dave 2.0 now and bring the punch down.
Yeah, but Dino Dave was sent last week, so hopefully that young man gets him.
Right. That is us. That's your stomach.
No, that was one me at all. I don't know what that was.
That's us done. For a quiet week of Talking Pints. We are back on Wednesday, where we will be previewing the Scottish Grand National meeting up at Ayr and a few other good races dotted around on Saturday and Sunday. So until then, have a good week, and we'll see you Wednesday at around 10 o'clock, where it will be uploaded for another weekend preview. That was the worst outro ever. But anyway, we see you on Wednesday.
It wasn't great.